By now, you have almost certainly seen one of these. A little monster with pointed ears and a row of small teeth pulled from a sealed foil box. It is called Labubu, and the box is the whole point. You do not choose which figure is inside. You buy it sealed and find out after. So you are not really buying a toy. You are pulling a lever on a slot machine that pays out in plastic. Last year, Mart, the company behind it, sold more than 100 million. More than 3 every second. The odds of the one you actually want are printed on the back. 1 in 72. And almost none of it can ever be recycled. The thing itself is small. A vinyl elf with pointed ears, wide eyes, and 9 teeth, sold as ugly cute. A little joy to keep to a bag. What it is made of is 3 different plastics fused into one palm-size body. Roughly a third polyester, a third PVC, a third ABS. 3 materials no household recycling stream can pull apart, bonded together on purpose. The object that took a few seconds to open will essentially never come apart again. Then there is the box. Which figure is inside is not the buyer's choice. It is sold sealed and revealed only after the purchase. Most series hold a dozen ordinary designs and 1 rare one, the secret. The odds of a given regular figure are 1 in 12. The odds of the secret are as steep as 1 in 72. Those numbers are not marketing. They are printed on the packaging because a government made the company print them. A gambling researcher put it plainly. The blind box runs on the same reward schedule as a slot machine. The pleasure is in the not knowing, and the unwanted duplicate works like a near miss. It does not end the loop, it feeds it. Every copy already owned becomes a reason to buy one more. Labubu was not built to be any of this. It was drawn in 2015 by an artist named Casing Lung out of Nordic folklore for a set of children's picture books. For years, it was a niche art toy, made in small runs, loved by a few collectors. A fairy tale monster with no machine behind it. The machine came from a different company. Mart was founded in 2010 as a variety store, and its founder noticed something. A single random figurine was driving a third of his sales. Not the figure, the randomness. In 2016, he built the business around the blind box, and in 2019, he licensed Labubu. The artist kept drawing. Mart industrialized it. Then one post lit the fuse. In April of 2024, a member of the band Blackpink posted a photo of herself with one. Prices jumped around 400% within weeks. Rihanna, Lady Gaga and others followed, and a fairy tale monster became a global status object. What kept it burning was the design. More than 300 different Labubu figures, priced from about $15 to nearly $1,000. An unending catalogue with no last piece to collect. To meet the demand, the factories in southern China went from making about 300,000 a month at the start of 2024 to roughly 30 million a month after the boom. A 100-fold increase in about a year and a half. Most of it molded, boxed, and shipped across oceans. By the middle of 2025, the craze cooled. Resale prices collapsed. A figure that once traded for over $100 fell to $40. Buyers posted no-buy pledges. The obvious lesson wrote itself. A fad had peaked, and it was passing. But a fad passing is not the same as its plastic passing. That is the part the hype cycle hides. The figures did not disappear when the interest did. They moved, from shelves to drawers to bins. And this is where the material matters. Around 80% of all plastic toys end up in a landfill, an incinerator, or the ocean. because they mix materials that cannot be recycled together. A Labubu is exactly that mix. Of all the PVC ever made, only about 1/10 is ever properly recycled. So the realistic end for one of these is not a recycling plant, it is buried or it is burned. Burning PVC is its own problem. The chlorine in it releases dioxins, among the most toxic compounds known. Buried, it does something slower. The plasticizers in PVC are not bonded to it, so they leach out for decades into soil and water. 100 million figures, at roughly 30 grams each, is several thousand tons of new plastic in a single year, from one toy line alone. And the model is built to make more of it than anyone needs. Because the secret is rare, the way to chase it is to buy in bulk, which means duplicates. The unwanted copies pile up on resale sites in job lots. The wanting lasts a couple of years. The plastic lasts far longer than that. Then there is the box the toy came in. A marketing researcher who studies it says the packaging is not an accident. The layers, the outer bag, the carton, the sealed foil, build the anticipation. Excessive packaging, in his words, is part of the suspense. For many units, that packaging is the larger share of the waste, and it is designed to be torn open and thrown away. And underneath the real product runs a second one. Because the figures are scarce and expensive, counterfeits flooded in. Collectors call them Labubu. The scale is its own statistic. In 2025, the United Kingdom's border force seized around 240,000 fake Labubus. That was 90% of every counterfeit toy it stopped that year. 3/4 of them failed basic safety tests. China seized over 1.5 million. One shipment into the United States was labelled on the manifest as LED bulbs. A whole shadow industry of near-identical plastic, untested, riding the same wave. The one authority that moved on Labubu did not move on the plastic. It moved on the gambling. China's market regulator looked at the blind box and saw the mechanism for what it is. It barred selling them to children under 8, and by 2023 it required companies to print the odds on the box. The same one in '72 that started all this. In June of 2025, the Communist Party's own newspaper warned of blind box addiction and out-of-control consumption, describing children spending hundreds of yuan chasing a rare figure. The state treated the product as a slot machine, and it regulated the bet. None of it touched the waste. There is no rule that makes the packaging recyclable, no responsibility placed on the maker for where the figure ends up. The regulation protected the wallet. It left the plastic alone. And there is little reason inside the company to change it. 2025 was a record year. Revenue nearly tripled. The Labubu line alone brought in more than 14 billion yuan, over 1/3 of everything Mart earned, and the profit margin widened as it grew. The founder's own wealth rose by around $20 billion in a single year, at one point making him richer than some of the most famous names in technology. Built on a vinyl elf that sells for about $15. When the disposable version is the most profitable version, nothing in the system asks it to stop. So the odds are on the box now. 1 in 72, right there on the back. What it is made of and where it ends up when the wanting stops, that is printed nowhere. It just leaves the store more than 3 times a second.